Good evening, Northern Colorado. This is George, K3SAD. I am located in Windsor and will be net control for tonight's NCARC TechNet. The purpose of the TechNet is to enlighten amateur radio operators on topics of a technical nature. We will do our best to answer any technical questions to the benefit of all listening. If a subject's never been clear to you, this is an excellent opportunity to find an answer. If anyone feels they have information that will help regarding that subject, please give your call sign and net control will call on you. Preset. This net may be interrupted at any time for emergencies or priority traffic. If you need to use the system for an emergency during the net, say break 3 times in rapid succession and give your call sign. We'll acknowledge you, suspend the net until you advise you're clear. All licensed amateur radio operators with 70-centimeter privileges are encouraged to check into the net. Club membership is encouraged but never required for participation within the net. Check-ins are requested to count participation, and no checkout is required. This is Kilo 3 Sierra Alpha Delta, net control for tonight's NCARC TechNet. When checking in, please give your call sign slowly, first alphabetically, then again using the ITU phonetic alphabet, along with your name and location. When you're checking in, please state if you have a topic that you would like to discuss. I will be taking check-ins in groups of 3. When I've recorded the first group of 3, I will move on to the next group of 3. Barring doubles, in the interest of time, I will read back all recorded call signs after the conclusion of the first full round of check-ins. If I've made any mistakes, please call net control with corrections at that time. I will start by taking check-ins from any Echo Link users. Any call signs Alpha through Zulu. Tuning in via Echo Link, please call K3SAD net control now.
W0, DPC, Whiskey 0, Delta, Papa, Charlie, Donald in North Longmont.
Got you in there. W0, DPC from Echo Link. Now I'll open it up to over the radio, Alpha through Zulu. Alpha through Zulu, please call K3SAD.
This is KF0, ODB, Kilo Foxtrot 0, Oscar Delta Delta, Paul Burnett, no traffic.
Paul on the doubling station, go ahead.
Whiskey Alpha 7, Echo Mike at an Erie with a question.
Got you in there, next 3, go ahead.
This is Kilo Bravo 0, Yankee Delta November, KB0YDN, Eric, Pinewood Lake. No traffic.
This is KC0ZPY, Kilo Charlie 0, Zulu Papa Yankee, Jack, Loveland, no traffic.
This is N0NYY, November 0, November Yankee Yankee, Bart and Evans. I am with N0QXQ, November 0, Quebec X-Ray Quebec Gene, and I have one announcement for the net.
Thank you, Bart. Got those 3. Let's go with the next 3.
This is November 0, Echo Mike Papa, Greg in Fort Collins with Debbie, Kilo 0, Delta Bravo Echo.
Whiskey 0, Lima Echo India, W0 LEI, Chad and Stout, no traffic.
Kilo Foxtrot 0, Quebec Golf Tango, John in Eaton with no traffic.
Got those 3. Please go ahead with the next.
This is WB5TEX, Whiskey Bravo 5, Tango Echo X-Ray, Dale, Loveland, no traffic. Over.
This is KF0RHA, Kilo Foxtrot 0, Romeo Hotel Alpha, Chris and Severance, no traffic.
Got those 3. Go ahead.
W5 N0BSK, November 0, Bravo, November Kilo, Rick and Laporte.
Rick and Laporte won the doubling station. Go ahead.
W5VV, Whiskey 5, Victor, Bill in Livermore.
Got you in there. Anyone else? Okay, hearing none, this is K3SAD net control for tonight's TechNet.
Done, 4 calls.
I was afraid of that. Ben, come back again.
This is AE0CF, Alpha, Echo 0, Charlie, Foxtrot. Ben, 4 calls.
Got you, Ben. Anyone else?
This is Victor Alpha Yankee, Kilo Mike 6, Victor Alpha Yankee, Steve down in Sedalia.
Got you, Steve. Doubling station. Go ahead.
W0 KJM Whiskey 0 Kilo Juliet Mike Kyle Fort Collins.
Got you, Kyle. Anyone else?
Kilo Whiskey 5 Uniform Sierra Alpha, Jason Greeley, no traffic.
Gotcha, Jason. Anyone else?
Kilo Foxtrot 0 Golf Quebec Hotel, KF0 GQH, Kent in Wellington.
Got you in there, Kent. Okay, so I've got W0DPC, KF0ODD, WA7EM, KB0YDN, KC0ZPY, N0NYY with N0QXQ, N0EMP with K0DBE, W0LEI, KF0QGT, WB5TEX, KF0RHA, N0BNK, W5VV, AE0CF, KM6VAY, W0KJM, KW5USA, and KF0, my language just broke, GQH. Let's go ahead and go up to the top of the list. Ed, you had a topic for us.
Good evening, everyone. WA7EM. A little bit of a long story, but I want to go HF mobile in my F-150 pickup truck with my FT891 radio. Mounting an 891 is a bit harder than most VHF, UHF radios. It's quite a bit larger. It's still a small radio, but it's, I don't know, double or triple what a VHF radio is. Ford did a nice job of making this little compartment for the driver with a large console in the middle. So I'm wondering if anybody has mounted such a radio in such a vehicle and has any wisdom to share, because I'm struggling to do it. Go ahead.
Any takers on square peg and round holes? FT891 versus Ford.
And zero EMP.
Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, I've got two mobile radios, the 891 and a quad band Yaesu 9800. And with both of those radios, I went to Walmart and got a polyethylene cutting board that was not too much bigger than the footprint of the radio. And using the mobile mounting bracket for each radio, I mounted these radios on these cutting boards. And then using a half-inch PVC pipe and T-connectors and angle connectors and end caps, I built a cage around each radio, and the bottom legs of each cage have end caps on them that I drilled through to mount to the cutting board with screws. And let me reset this. And then I put Anderson power poles on each radio's power cord. This way I can put the radio in a backpack, and the cage protects it and keeps the fabric away from the radio enough for cooling. I can set the radio on a seat, on a car seat, and strap it in with a seat belt. I can tie some paracord to the cage and hang this whole thing off a headrest, either in front of or behind the seat, and do all sorts of other things with it. I found it to be very flexible and utilitarian, and zero EMP.
Whiskey Zero Delta Papa Charlie with a comment.
Go ahead.
Yeah, this is Donald. I mounted an FTM 400 Yaesu in my Tundra. I bet it's not Ford, but it's a Tundra, full size. And the interesting things I had to overcome was, one, I needed to find holes in the firewall to get the power cords out to the battery. and I also needed a hole toward the back to get the lead wire for the antenna out and up to the roof mount antenna that I had selected for it. And I found both of those holes by going on YouTube and doing searches for basically that. And it's interesting, what I found was, in the case of the holes for going out the back end, there are people that have replaced the carpet in their truck, and in my case in the Tundra. And they had pictures on the YouTube videos of the inside of the floorboard with all of the carpet removed, everything removed, and that gave me a perfect map to all of the holes that were available in the bottom of the floorboards in the back seat to route my antenna wire out. I mounted the radio itself inside the console right up next to myself, but that created the problem of I couldn't hear very well the audio from the speaker that was built in. So I bought a Yaesu MLS200-M10. Basically, I think I bought it on a Hamfest or on a Swap Fest, I think it was. But anyway, it worked perfectly. And what I did was then I took the interface for the radio is removable, and it comes, so it's small and you can mount it anywhere. So I just put that in I glued some magnets on the dashboard so that I can just set the interface up there where I can see it. And then the speaker, I can just pull it out and drop it into one of the cup holders, and the microphone just comes out and lays next to me. So that seemed to work out pretty good. I don't know if that helps at all, but check YouTube for holes in the firewall and for people removing their carpet. That's what I did. Whiskey Zero, Delta Papa Charlie, back to net.
This is K3SAD, Net Control for tonight's TechNet. Any other comments about mounting options?
K0ZPY with a comment.
Go ahead.
I have an F250, and I also put an Yaesu FTM400 in. I know it's not as big as what you're dealing with, but what I ended up doing was I went to one of the shops that install car stereos, and I talked with the guy there and actually found a real nice guy and ended up working together with him. And he had all the great tools and all the right extra pieces and parts and clips, and we ended up installing it under the dash and it made a real nice solution. And we worked together on it. Of course, I had to pay him for it, but it was he deals with finding wires and things like that into small places all day long, and so he was a great resource to help me out. This is KC0ZPY, back to net.
This is K3SAD, Net Control. It's funny because when that story started, I just envisioned him kidnapping a man from a car audio place and making him do the work. Don't know why my mind went there, but that's where it went. Any other comments?
N0AMP, I forget if the 891, does it have a detachable control head?
Yes, it does, and it's small and simple, and I've been stubborn about detaching it, but I think I've gotten past that stubbornness.
Yeah, that'll allow you to put the radio under a seat or something, or up on the firewall under the dash, and then have just the control head in that space. N0AMP.
All right, I think we've run that down. Bart, you had an announcement for us?
I did, N0NYY. This week, Wednesday, 11:30 a.m., ham lunch at Perkins in Loveland, 2222 West Eisenhower, a.k.a. Highway 34, home of, I think, the tallest flagpole in town. It's easy to find. At 11:30, we normally have the back room at Perkins, which makes for a lot of interesting conversations. It is a great opportunity to put some faces with the voices. Mark used to refer to it as TechNet with lunch, because there's often literally hundreds of years of radio experience in that room, and questions are freely answered as always, and it's just a great time. and the food isn't usually too bad either. That's this Wednesday. This happens every other Wednesday, and this week is the week. 11:30 a.m. at Perkins. I'm zeroing my Y back to net.
Thank you, Bart. K3SAD. Any other check-ins for tonight's TechNet?
This is K0AZA, Kilo Zero Alpha Zulu Alpha, late check-in.
Got you on. Anyone else? Okay. I had a question. I didn't know if somebody could clarify for me. I assisted a little bit with getting I'm dumb hands here, so getting a repeater set up. They're putting a voter at one site to connect with another repeater at another site, and the system is using All-Star, I think, for the most part, to get from point to point, not directly doing microwave between the two repeaters. There was a hang-up about the GPS antenna that was on both sites, and without the GPS it wouldn't connect. Can anybody take a stab at what was going on and why GPS was so pivotal for the All-Star voter setup?
KJM.
Kyle, to my rescue, go ahead.
My most educated guess is going to be for time, because I know some of those digital modes use, what is it called, TDMA, time domain multi something. I'm sure someone else in here could probably give you better information than I can, but that would be my guess, is for keeping the most accurate time.
M0 EMP.
Go ahead, Greg.
Kyle's close. The All-Star uses voice over IP. And for a voting system where the repeater might directly receive a signal, or it might receive a signal from one or more different voting receivers at different locations, the idea is that it looks at which source has or which receiver has the best signal strength, and it votes to use that one. And this is a dynamic process, so as you move around while transmitting, it will switch. And I think it looks at 100 or 1,000 times a second, I think James told me once, and that's how quickly it votes. So all the packets that go over voice over IP have to be precisely time-stamped, because you might be using packets from one receiver and then a fraction of a second later will switch over to a different source, and you have to keep everything in sequence. Let me reset this. So the GPS is for time stamping. We had a problem at Buckhorn because Buckhorn is such an incredibly high RF environment that our cheap GPS receiver kept dropping out, kept getting knocked offline. And we went to a dual frequency GPS receiver. The civilian ones used to all be L1 frequency. Now that we have GPS and the Chinese BIDAL and Russian GLONASS and European, I forget what the European one was. There's a couple different bands, L1 and L5, I think. We went to a dual band GPS or GNSS receiver and a better kind of a survey grade outdoor antenna. We didn't go top of the line on either one of these. We got both products from SparkFun Electronics in Niwot.
This presentation was brought to you by the Northern Colorado Amateur Radio Club. For more information, visit our website, ncarc.net. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.